Hey, what's going on? I am Gazbot. Now, this is a hybrid video. Over here, where am I putting it? Here? Here. Right here, I'm going to put up some art that I've recently completed. It is of the Power Rangers in Space Pink Ranger, also known as Mega Ranger or Mega Pink. I started it on Procreate on my iPad, which is why this part is a little scratchier because, whatever, the way it records. And this is actually sped up, and then the next part you'll see it switches to when I'm working on Photoshop, and This was slowed down rather. The next part sped up, but that's not exactly. I'm not here to put the technical aspects of how I edit my videos and things. I do a show called Action Activate with the big Dawg Defender, and there's a lot of videos of that you could see, interviews with guests, interviews with Ranger actors, and reviews of shows and comic books and all kinds of stuff. Some of his stuff he does by himself. Previous to that, I did lots of different stuff. I did vlogs of myself. I did like life vlogs. I did a lot of art stuff, a lot about comic book art, my comic, prints, setting up at comic book conventions to sell, things like that. And I never intended to completely stop doing that stuff. I intended to, like the last thing I did a Twitch. I did Twitch, and I did a thing called Twitch Request Live, where I would take requests for things to sketch. And I keep messing with my hair because I took a shower and I didn't really do anything with it. And it was kind of fun, but those were some of the worst attended, viewed videos I ever did. For whatever reason, even though it was like a lot of viewer engagement, theoretically, it was like the same 12 people over and over. And if you look in my past videos, they're still some of the lowest watched ever. And granted, they're reruns, you know, the live version is better because you can actually request me to do stuff. But it's still me chatting with people and making jokes and drawing. And there's some of them have like 12 views after 2 years. So I was like, I guess, you know, art videos just aren't like a thing that people dig. And then I used to, when we first started doing Action Activate, I would try to put a Power Rangers headshot being worked on every episode, but I wasn't always working on a Power Rangers headshot, and I had other work I was doing, or I was working on my comic, which didn't really fit the format. And slowly but surely, I just stopped really posting vlog stuff, and I stopped posting art stuff, and it became all Power Rangers, which is fine. And I like my Power Ranger stuff, and I like my Power Rangers viewers, and I'm not saying anything, and we're not planning on stopping that anytime soon. But I wanted to get back to putting some art up, and I figured the best way to do that was a hybrid video where I'm addressing the camera, I'm talking to you about Power Ranger stuff, I'm talking about art stuff, and here's a piece of Power Rangers art I recently completed. And this is Power Rangers in Space Pink. I'm also, the next thing I'm going to do is silver headshot, and then I will have completed that whole team. I do sell on my Etsy store a lot of prints of my art, a lot of Power Ranger stuff. People like full teams. I haven't had a full Power Rangers in Space team. I have an Astro Megazord image with like the team in that, but the headshots I only had 4 of, and part of that is because in the beginning I would just do Rangers that I thought were cool or I felt like doing. Then I started saying, okay, well I got to have Mighty Morphin because everybody wants Mighty Morphin, like if I'm going to make money at tables and stuff. And then so there was a little bit of who I wanted to do, a little bit of who I thought was going to sell, and then there was a lot of I'm going to a show, these actors are going to be there, I want to make sure I have a headshot for these actors. And which doesn't explain Justin Nemo Silver, who I didn't do, although I did do a sticker of him. But In Space Pink doesn't really do conventions as far as I know. I've never seen her at one, so it just was never high on my list to get her done. And nothing against her character, but she wasn't like a particular favorite of mine. And so it wasn't until recently that I've been getting multiple requests for, and I think it was actually once I did the Astro Megazord print, the 11x17 with the full team, then people were noticing, because that did pretty well, and people were noticing the headshots. I'm like, well, I want to get a full team as well, and how come we don't have pink and silver and this and that? And I was like, well, silver, no brainer, because you know, I've met Justin Nemo, we did an interview, he's a nice guy, and it is a needed one. But I had done the sticker, that was like, I made sure I had an In Space Silver sticker for the show I met him at. But pink just wasn't high on my priority until people started asking about it. So I started pink a little while ago, and it took forever to get back to it and finish it, which I just did, as you can see. Well, you can't see, it's not done yet, but you will. And silver will be next on my plate. My plan is to have them both done this month and have them up on my Etsy shop for sale, as well as a punk rock Donatello headshot I did a while ago, for myself, just to test the waters with that. Because like I do the art I have up on my Etsy store that I sell at shows, although I'm not doing shows right now, it's like mostly Godzilla, Ultraman, that kind of stuff, and Power Rangers, with a little bit of Transformers, a little bit of Ninja Turtles, and a couple other random things. And I'm always wondering, like, should I be doing more Turtles? Should I be doing this? Whatever. So every now and then I'll throw a print up like this Donatello one, and if that does well, people like it, then maybe I'll do a few more. Similarly, the last print I did Pumpkin Wrapper, and I don't even remember what I did. Doesn't matter. So you can see here, I'm bringing in photo reference because the In-Space Rangers, Mega Rangers all have like an item in their head, were at the time, I guess, cutting edge technology. I think this was like a cell phone or a BlackBerry or something. And so I barely show it because you rarely ever see it, especially in the American version. But I hint at it. If you look at them, they're all hinted at. So I wanted to keep it consistent. That's one of the other things that's hard is when I do these series of headshots, and this is my own fault, with the exception of like Mighty Morphin, because I did them all in a row, most of them I do scattershot and mix around for the reasons I said earlier. And that's fine, except my style and my ability changes over time. I might start drawing lines a different way. I might start coloring a different way. And so I have to remember, how did I color this one? And because I want them to match within that team. For example, in Space, on all of them, I put a little bit of the color of whatever ranger they were as like a secondary light, really just a faint tint. But I need to do it all of them now because I did it that way. And so I'm often, later on you'll see, I open up, I spent way too much time on this gadget that later on I took out most of this detail because I forgot how simple I did it. That's a perfect example. I was going super detailed, I was kind of tracing it halfway, and then I skew it, and I do all this detail in different colors, and then I later imported the Yellow Ranger, and I realized I kind of just did a sloppy outline in one color, and I was like, oh, so this was all a waste of time. And when I do bring in the Yellow Ranger, you'll see, like I said, I'll be matching different shadow colors, like what shade, like on the pink, I do shadow and highlight on the pink. On yellow, I did that too. But if it's white, for example, I want all the shadow color, because it's not always black. It might be like a light blue, or even if it is black, it's a certain shade. I want it to match in that series. And what I'll often do with the backgrounds is I will grab the whole background and just manipulate it a little bit to match that particular ranger rather than recreate it. A, it saves me work, and B, it makes sure they're all unified. But this is the problem why a lot of times I don't want to go back to these older teams that I didn't finish, because it's like, it's not enough to just draw it. I got to remember how I drew it. And so theoretically, I want to say, well, going forward, I'm just going to do teams like in a row, but life happens, and then suddenly I have an opportunity for an interview, or somebody commissions me to do a piece, and that gets all thrown out the window. That being said, In Space is going to be finished very soon. Likely the next thing I'm going to do similar is finish Time Force, because like In Space, I'm too shy of finishing Time Force. I have to do Quantum and Green, and I've had people request that as well. I'm not going to put a timeline on that, but that'll be the next priority in Power Rangers, barring any kind of commissions or whatever. I do have a commission right now that is not Power Rangers. It's a personal commission for someone that's commissioned me a few times, and it's going to be a Warhammer thing. I did a Warhammer thing for him not too long ago. I don't know anything about Warhammer. I know what Warhammer is. I've seen the miniatures. I've had friends that play it. I actually played the tabletop game, which is more like the role-playing game, I should say, which is more like Dungeons & Dragons, where we just sat there with sheets of paper. I've never played the miniature game. I have played HeroClix and other miniature games, but the point is, I don't know much about Warhammer. Specifically, I don't know about what the armor and stuff looks like, so it's a little bit difficult for me, because I always have to look up stuff, and there's like, if I'm looking at Power Ranger stuff and I see like two different guns, I'm like, oh, well, that's the regular gun, that's their super gun, or that doesn't match, that's just some cosplayer. But when I'm looking up stuff for Warhammer, like, I don't know what's right or wrong, so there's a lot of going back and forth. Hey, is this right? Does this look right? The good thing is, this character I'm going to be doing, I've already done the rough actually, is the same as one I did before, just in a different pose with a different head. So I'm just going to base it on the version I did before, rather than try to make a new composite like I did last time. I have to finish that commission. I had a Godzilla commission, kind of a big one, where it was Godzilla and a couple other monsters. It was going to be this decal for somebody. I don't want to talk about too much, because I realized it could still happen. But we talked money, we talked time frames and everything, and we're all set to go. And then, I don't know, I haven't gotten the deposit yet, so that might not happen, which is actually why I took the Warhammer commission, because where I am right now with my career and my time and my life, I can only really take one commission at a time. I don't feel comfortable taking more than one, because then who knows how long it's going to be. So I took the Warhammer one because the Godzilla one seemed to not be going anywhere, but I should be following up with them, but I don't want to, because I don't want them to go, yeah, we're ready to go, because now I'm not. So when I finish the Warhammer commission, I might ping them and be like, hey, did you still want to do this? That aside, like I said, my plan is to finish these In-Space Rangers, and then for those that don't know, I have an independent comic that I created, wrote, draw. I have a little help with the lettering, is the only thing that other people have done. And it's called the Horror Ray 4. It's a kaiju giant monster comic. There is no Sentai team to fight them. It's just like normal humans, and it's a mess. It's just not going well for them. And I wrote the whole thing a couple years ago. It's 5 issues. It's a limited series, beginning to end, a whole story, with the possibility it could continue, but it's not like Spider-Man, where it just goes on forever. And it's all written, and the first 2 issues are done and published. You can buy them on my Etsy store. I did Kickstarters for both of them that were successful. And I've been working on the 3rd issue forever. I don't want to stop this. I want to finish it. You know, it's a passion project. It's important to me, but it's also, it continues to not be a priority. There's a few things. I'm very slow as an artist, especially doing comic book pages. I've heard lots of averages floated where it takes about a day to do a pencil page. Some people could do 2 in a day. Some people could pencil and ink a page in a day. What is a day? Is that 8 hours? Is that 20 hours? I don't know. But for me, taking it from like roughs to finished inks and I do it in grayscale, that's like 22 hours of work. So that's like 3 days, full 8 hour days to get a page done. And I often don't have full days like that. I often am just grabbing an hour or two here or there, which makes it take longer because then I'm not just going and in the zone. It's like, well, I haven't worked on this in 3 days. I have an hour. Let me put it in. Oh, okay, that's where I was. And that hour is more like 20 minutes or 30 minutes of actual work. I'm not making excuses. I'm giving explanations for why I have been so slow getting it done. But every now and then I get bursts of, I got to get this done. And that I have a burst of that right now. So it's all penciled. Issue 3. It's written, it's penciled, and some of it's inked. I forget. I ink linearly, so I ink page 1, ink page 2, ink page 3. So when I say some of it's inked, it's not like scattershot. I just don't remember how many pages in a row I've inked so far. But my plan is, once I get done with the Rangers I just talked about and get them up on Etsy, and once I finish the commission, my new priority will be getting issue 3 done. Somewhere in there, I'll try to get the Time Force Rangers done, but like I said, my priority will be getting the issue of the comic done. Looking at the art right now, I made this video to be... Here's the thing. I am kind of watching the video separately while I film this. The video of the art, I should say, on After Effects. And I made it to be about 20 minutes. Because I'm like, I feel like I have 20 minutes worth of stuff to say. Looking at it now, it looks like it's 11, 12 minutes. So I got 8 minutes left. And I've kind of said my piece. Oh, here, actually, this is the part you could see where I take out the colors. And then I just basically... Yeah, by comparing it, it's not even close. So I remove all the colors and details and then put the opacity way down so you can barely see it. Also, at some point, when you're going to make art for printing, you want to do it in Cmyk because that's just a mode. There's RGB and Cmyk. And RGB is very bright colors on the screen that really look good and pop, but can't be replicated in print because RGB is red, green and blue, which are the 3 components of like the light that combines to bring it to our eyes through TVs. I mean, I don't really understand it, how it works, the technology of it. I just know that that's what it stands for and that's what it means. Cmyk is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, which is the 4 pigments or inks that are in most printers that combine. And so there are 2 different ways of getting multiple millions of colors, or I don't know the actual number. And Cmyk can't get the same brightness that you can on a screen, which kind of makes sense because the screen is literally light coming at you. So you could work in either, but when it goes time to print, there's all you can see. I took the background, but I'm like resizing it and messing it around so it doesn't look exactly the same. But somewhere in here, I realized I was working in RGB, and when I turned it to Cmyk, that bright pink turned to like mud. And that's the thing. It doesn't always just dim it down. Sometimes it really changes it. So then I went in and I picked a whole different pink that wasn't as good as the RGB pink, but it looked better than the mud. It was like an actual printable bright pink as opposed to this unprintable bright pink. Yeah, and actually the funny thing is I use the same basic background for yellow, pink, red, and blue. No, and then I did black, and it is a similar kind of space 90s laser light behind them, but there's more green as opposed to the blue and the yellow and the pink and stuff. Excuse me. And I realized I did that for Carlos because I'm looking at promo pictures, I'm looking at Mega Ranger, I'm trying to just make it different. I don't want to just have them, a lot of people nowadays are doing these Ranger headshots. I feel like when I started, there weren't as many doing it, and because I'm so slow, a lot of them have done more than me at this point. I'm not claiming to be clear, I'm not saying I'm the first one that ever did this. They're all ripping me off. Just, I used to go to a lot of shows and nobody had Power Ranger art, or nobody did, and I didn't personally see it, and now I see it a lot, and that's fine. But my point was, I have a certain way of doing things where I try not to pick the standard thing that everybody else is doing. I may be succeeding, I may be failing, but that's my thought. I'm trying to put everyone's spin on it. So I found these cool promo pick backgrounds that were used sort of like in the training sessions in the early seasons of In Space. Maybe it was used more extensively in Mega Ranger. I don't know. I haven't seen it. And I decided to make that the background. And again, it has that sort of like high school, late 80s, early 90s background that I thought was funny. But some of them were green and some of them were multicolored. And so when I did Carlos, I did green. And I planned on mixing that up more, but I realized he's the only one I did green. So when I do silver, I'm going to make sure to do him green. So there's at least 2 people that have green. So it doesn't look like there's something super special or weird about Carlos, the In Space Black Ranger. So looking at this now, we got a little less than 5 minutes. So yeah, so that's my basic plan. Meanwhile, for those of you that are watching this that are interested in the Power Ranger stuff, there is another Big Dawg video coming up where he's doing another review. We put up a solo one this week. I'm recording this on Wednesday before Dino Fury premieres. My plan is to get this up by the end of the week. I mean, obviously I'm filming it now and the art's done, but I got to edit it and upload it and stuff. Ideally, maybe have it go up Thursday if I can. And then, so there's another one in the bank for Big Dawg if we need it. And I still am toying with the idea of doing unboxing / review for this guy, but I haven't gotten around to it. Stuff like that takes away from the art too. Like I could do that, but I should be working on my comic. So I don't know. It's all a balance game. And so like this is a weird video because if you've been following me just doing the Power Ranger stuff, it's not too far off from what you've seen, but I'm getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty of how I draw and a little bit more into my like, oh, what should I be doing with my time? And I don't know, what am I doing with life? And a lot of my older videos, I was probably way more into the nitty gritty of like, I'm using a 0.7 right now and I'm using a, lower opacity to erase. And then I'd be like, oh, things are hard. And I went to the post office and like, so depending on how you found me or what you're looking at, this video might seem a little bit more or less rambly or a little bit more or less personal or, but that's fine. Cause like I said, I'm kind of at a crossroads where I want to put up some more art videos and I don't even know what, I mean, maybe I'll put up some comic book stuff. Maybe I'll just keep doing Power Ranger art, but I just wanted to start getting the art back into the channel. That's why it's called Gazbot, not Action Activate, because this was the Gazbot channel. I'm Gazbot. It was just me and my life and my art. And then we started doing Action Activate and it kind of took over, which again is fine. And I'm grateful and I love it. I wish there was a way I could like take all the same viewers and split it. Cause like, if you ever watch MMPR Toys with Bruno and Mia, they have a second channel that's, what's it called? Divided as One, or Toy Galaxy split, and it's Toy Galaxy 2. And they did that because the content is slightly different. And like MMPR Toys, that's just like toy reviews and things like that. And then Divided as One is more bloggy. It's still the same people. It's a lot of Power Rangers, but it's a little bit more informal, less edited, or less produced, I should say. And it's more bloggy and stuff. And that's kind of like, if I'm going to put up content like that, I would like it to be a little more separate. Not that I care, but viewers sometimes are like, well, what's this? I wanted a Power Rangers review show, and this guy's just talking about what kind of pens he bought, But I don't know how to do that without either like starting a whole new channel, which I don't have the time or energy to do, or I don't know. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe people won't care, and I'm not going to stress about it too much. But that's why I would like it if I had the Gazbot channel and the Action Activate channel, and I could keep them separate where people could follow both if they want. I mean, that's how we do it online on Instagram, on Facebook. Excuse me. I have Gazbot and I have Action Activate. And Gazbot is like just art. And I mean, there might be Power Ranger art, but it's just art. And then Action Activate is all about the show and any news that might come up and things like that. So, and again, not that I really care about keeping them separate, but I definitely had people that followed me for art that were like, could you stop talking about your Power Ranger show? Like, we don't care. And I think the people that follow me for Power Rangers might like my Power Ranger art, but if I'm like, here's other art that has not, it's not even about showing the art. Like I said, it's the behind the scenes of like, here's new paper I bought, or, whatever, I don't know, or I'm having a hard time with Etsy, like you don't necessarily want to hear that. So my hope is that people can just watch the videos they want to watch, don't watch the ones they don't want to watch, not unsubscribe or complain or whatever. And I think most of the people that follow this channel are pretty cool, and I don't expect a problem, which is why I'm not going to worry about it. Like I was worrying about it, and then I thought about like, who follows me that would give me a problem? Like nobody. Worst case scenario, somebody watches this and is like, oh, this isn't Power Rangers enough, or he's talking too much about Power Rangers, or whatever. So that's where I'm at. We're almost at the end of the art. Actually, I think we are at the end of the art here. So that's the final piece, and I'm pretty happy with it. I guess I'm still futzing with it a little, but the final piece will come up here in a second. I'm pretty happy with it. The other weird thing is that like now I've done X amount of In-Space Rangers over some of these I did a couple of years ago. So like I said, the style and the quality changes, and some of them I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go back and fix some of those because I think I could do it better now. But if I do that, then I won't do Silver, and then I won't finish Time Force. And so my goal, I'm not going to redo any of them. My goal is to get all of them done at some point in the future before I die. And then if at that point I finish them all, I want to go back and do it, well, there you go. But for now, I've been Gaz. Oh, there you go. I'm saving it. I've been Gazbot. This has not been Action Activate, even though the logo is kind of on the screen because I was using StreamYard to record. And if you have any thoughts on this, let me know. If you want to see more art, if you don't want to see more art, I'll take any, as long as people are nice, which again, usually are. You can give me any opinion you want. I'll take it and then I'll think about it. I'm not guaranteeing I'll do what you say, but I'll certainly listen to it and think about it. And hopefully this didn't bore you too much. Like I said, it's a weird hybrid episode that I feel like isn't going to really please anybody, but I felt like I needed to get it out there just to start things moving. So, to the power or whatever, I don't know. I don't usually say that when it's just me, but this was sort of Action Activate. I don't know. I will, let me look for a thing. I want to do a wacky ending. Give me a wacky ending. Where's a wacky ending? Couldn't find a wacky ending, but yeah. All right. See you later. Bye.